shoulder time. That right there is how you clean a piggy leg. Alright, so this part is the part that comes from the lower leg, and as you can see, you've got this like tendon. Really, I mean, they're really big, right? You see all that white stuff? So this, I mean, in some countries they'll make like a roast out of this, but this is really got a lot of like tendons and stuff that's just hard to chew or impossible to chew. So what I usually do is I just like cut off the biggest pieces of the tendon, and then the rest of it goes into the trim, which is going to be, like I said, the sausage. The rest of that can be in the trim. Now on this front shoulder, I I usually take it all off the way you saw me do just now, because the muscles are a little bit strange in here, and I just prefer to have it all off the bone so that I know what I'm dealing with. So when I look at it, I see that right here I have a pretty big section of muscle tissue here that can be into a big roast. And then I also see right here, this section here, you can roll it up and make a roast. I put the roast in the crock pot so I don't ever actually like roll and tie them like a butcher would. But I just will cut it about right in here and then also have that big section. So that's what I'm going to do. Now this pig had like a cut on the shoulder, and I don't know if it was that second shot that I made when the pig was thrashing, but it actually kind of looked like an arrow hole. So just this area that had that wound in it, it looks nasty. So when in doubt, throw it out. I just trim that stuff off. Anytime I find anything like that, just trim it out. It's not going to be wasting that much meat, and I'd rather trim it out than it be something that would cause the rest of it to spoil, or even just have that one bite whenever you go to eat it. That's just disgusting. So yeah, for 2 people, this little roast, this is like the front of the shoulder, like this part here of the shoulder, like the scapula is like right there, and it's this front part. That's a pretty good roast for 2 people. Cut out some of this white connective tissues. I don't know what they're called. Just know that they connect everything together. So just cut some of that out, because we're not trying to eat the connective tissues, we're trying to eat the meat. And a lot of times what I'll try to do is I'll try to like open it up and see, like you can see right there, each muscle is kind of like has a covering over it, and so I try to keep a muscle whole. So sometimes what you can do is once you get an opening, you can just get your fingers in there and you can pull those muscles apart and then kind of see what you've got. And a lot of times that'll work better than just hacking and sawing away at it. And you just like lose a lot of the integrity of your meat. So right now all I'm doing is just pushing, and when I get a spot that's got a hard piece of connective tissue, just cut that. But you can see those muscles were like that. I realized there were 2 muscles, and I just pushed until I got them completely separate. And you can see how they're still intact. They're not all cut into pieces. And you can do that all the way down. Or you can open them up and you can just take a knife and just cut through the connective part. Just push them apart and cut. And then you have that piece and that piece. This is the back side of the front shoulder, which is going to be a roast. Now I know it looks kind of crazy. If you were at a butcher shop, they would like wrap this up and put a piece of string around it, and it would just all be, you know, ta-da, roast. But, you know, that's what I'm going to do when I put it in the paper. And then whenever I get ready to cook these things, I usually just thaw them out just enough to get them out of the paper and then throw them in the crock pot. So you don't have to tie them. If you feel like you want to do that, fine. And again, I got another spot here that's got some sort of cut. I really think this came from the bullet, but I never did find the bullet So just this bloody spot, I just cut that out. Just like if it was a potato and you just cut the bruises out of the potato. So, I mean, it's not quite as pretty now, but a roast is a roast. And that will be some fine eating right there. And then you got this little piece here. After taking both of the roasts, there's not really a whole lot of like steak-worthy meats or anything in here. So pretty much this is going to go into the trim with everything else. Just make sure that I get any little pieces of bones or trash out. And put it in the trim for sausage. Okay guys, I'm back after a short break where I drank a cup of coffee and let my muscles rest because after dragging that hog through the woods, I am very sore. Yeah, I don't recommend it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I finished both front shoulders already. The second one I did a little bit less neat than the one I did for you guys. And now I'm going to walk through the back leg and how I do the back leg. So it's going to be a little bit different because obviously the bone is different. You don't have that flat with the weird ridges scapula, okay? So on this one it's pretty much just going to be like muscle by muscle, and then the bottom half of course goes to trim. Now I also have, right now I have a pack of pig fat that we purchased last year for making sausage and doing some deer ground meat, adding some fat to it. So I went ahead and got that thawing out and kind of used that as kind of ice until it thaws out to keep that water cold where I have the trim being stored. So I'm going to go ahead and get this ham out and show you guys how I do the ham or the hindquarters. Meanwhile, I'm going to watch YouTube videos. And if anybody has recommendations for a better tripod, put them down below. This one sucks. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is like cut a lot of this stuff here off because this gets in the way of me being able to see where the muscles are. I don't have them memorized, so I do rely on my eyeballs to know exactly where each muscle starts and ends, right? So I'm mostly going to be trying to just do roast this time around because I have the pork chops and we've been on a diet lately, so we haven't really been doing a lot of like fried foods. And so, I mean, I'll pan sear a steak, don't get me wrong, but I do have all those packs of pork chops, so that's gonna kind of hold me over. Now, when you start this, you can see this ball joint right here. This is the ham right here. Now, of course, you could carefully debone this thing and get it out whole, sort of the way I showed with the front shoulder, and then you would just like tie it and cure it and do all of that if you knew what to do and you were gonna make an actual ham. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just get my hair off of the meat. I'm just gonna cut this up. Some of these little giblets, that'll be trim. But kind of trim it up nice. And then once I get it trimmed up nice and then I can see each muscle, then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to try to get like 1, 2, and then 3 out of this of roast. And then with a roast, you can always, once you thaw it out, you can always slice it across the grain and make steaks out of it. Once it's cut up, you can't make it back into a roast, obviously. And my phone thinks I'm talking to it.
I didn't understand that.
Of course you didn't. I'm not talking to you. 1. 3 roasts and 2 packs of steaks, not counting the bit off the bottom part of the leg, which went for trim. That's a lot of meat. Okay, I'm back again. It's like 4 something in the afternoon. I've been pretty much working on this on and off all day long, and this is the last step. So I took a break, finally got me something to eat. Little pork with some potatoes and carrots stewed down in the cast iron, and now I'm about to do the last step, which is making the sausage. So here it is. Okay, pause that real quick. I don't know how much you can see, but it's really, really watery. That's because I've had it in the sink in ice water in order to keep it cold. So what I just did was I just opened the drain to start draining the water out of the meat that I have in the sink. That way it won't just be a big soupy mess. But it's supposed to just come out like just crumbs, like as if you're making like biscuits or something. So I'm gonna keep doing this like this. I'm probably gonna drain some of this water off, but just hopefully with the drier stuff it'll kind of like even out. So alright, so now that I have it chopped the first time, my next step is going to be adding the seasoning. And this is what I use. Old Plantation seasoning. It's the pork sausage seasoning. It's blend 10. Here where I live in Louisiana, this is the only one that I've been able to find, locally at least. But they do carry other types. This blend 10 is kind of like a breakfast sausage blend. So this works great for what I'm doing with this, because this is going to be like patties and, you know, crumbled up sausage for sausage gravy and biscuits, things like that. So this works great for, you know, what I'm doing. But they do have other blends, and you can go on their website and they sell different kinds as well. Obviously it's more expensive because of shipping, but, you know, if you want to try something different, you know, check them out. So that's Old Plantation. Alright, so I have filled up this tray all the way to the top. I actually did not even use all of the fat. You probably can tell that it's got a lot of fat in it. I used quite a bit of fat, and you know, the meat is naturally kind of a little bit fattier than something like deer. Especially the pigs around here, they seem to, it doesn't necessarily look like they have a lot of fat, but whenever you start processing the meat, and you realize that they have more than you would think. So this thing is full, so I got to get another bowl to be able to mix the seasoning in. Alright, so this is going to be another one of those things where you're going to want to taste test. Usually, I know it says, hold on. There we go. I know it says each pack does 25 pounds of meat, but I've not really ever used that as a guide. Pretty much what I do is I sprinkle the seasoning on it like you just saw me do. Sneeze a couple times like I'm feeling I need to do again, and mix it up. And then what I'll do is I'll get the pan hot and I'll make out a little patty. Once I think it, you know, looks good and smells good, you know, once it's mixed in, it's not as strong, but whew. I'll make a little patty, cook it, and try it and see what it tastes like. If it tastes like it needs more seasoning, then I'll add more seasoning. If it doesn't taste like it needs more seasoning, then I don't add more seasoning. If I put too much seasoning, well, hopefully I got some pork that doesn't have seasoning on it to add into it, because, you know, you can't take seasoning away. So my rule of thumb generally is, you know, go err on the side of caution, put a little bit less than maybe what you think you need, and whenever you get down to it and you cook it and it's not enough seasoning, you can always add some Uncle Tony's. So let's mix this up. So all I did was take out not quite half of it, put it in the bowl. Just give me some room to mix this part. Give me a little room to work, so you just go around it a few times until I don't see any dried bits of seasoning. Once I know that it's pretty much incorporated into the meat. And I'm just going to throw this out there too. If you're afraid of getting your hands dirty, hire a processor. I think it needs more. Or my nose is busted. So I got it all done. Got all the sausage ground for the second time. Now I just gotta package this up. Camera's about to run out of battery again. But I'm just gonna package this up and put it in the freezer, and then I'll be back for a tally of everything that I got. Okay. Oh, and one quick tip. With these types of grinders, there's always a little bit that doesn't come out. So they actually suggest using bread, but to me that just means that one of my pieces of sausage is probably going to have some bread in it. So what I do is, I know there's going to be a little bit of sausage that didn't get ground this second time. So what I do is I just take a couple handfuls of what already went through this plate, run it back through just a couple of times, and it's not going to hurt this sausage to go back through here because the plate's the exact same size it just came through. So I just run a little bit of sausage back through there a couple of times, and then generally it's only like a piece or two that gets, that doesn't get ground all the way. And then I don't have bread in my sausage. So that's what I'm about to do. Package this up, and I'll be back for the tally. Okay guys, this is everything from this one pig. And I will say that I probably was more sloppy with this pig with cleaning than I normally am. And this is what I got from just one, I would say, standard size pig. I mean, this is my cabinet, my countertop here. You can see it's almost 2 drawer widths if I moved it down of meat. So this is what I got. I wrote it down for myself. So here we have 26 packs of sausage. This is not sausage. 26 packs of sausage. All of this right here, sausage. Some of the packs are a little bit smaller, like this pack as compared to this pack. But I got 26 packs of sausage. I did not weigh them. I just kind of eyeballed it, just put it in the pack and just wrapped it up. 26 packs of sausage. Then I've got 2 whole tenderloins right here, which, I mean, that's standard. You're going to get 2 tenderloins. Then the next thing is I've got 4 shoulder roasts. These come off the front shoulders. So I got 2 roasts per shoulder. And pretty much everything else from each shoulder went into the sausage. So I got 2 shoulder roasts plus steelhead meat to make sausage. Then I have right here, I have 6 pork roasts that came from the hindquarters or from the back legs. This is that ham area like I showed on the video. So you get 3 pork roasts from each ham, basically. Now this big one, it's not pretty, but it doesn't matter because it's going to cook up just the same in the crock pot. It has some smaller pieces of muscle that maybe a butcher would, trim off and throw in with the trim, but I just leave it on because it's good quality meat and it cooks down fine in the crock pot. So I got 6 roasts off the back legs, 3 per leg. We had this 1 pack of stew meat. That was from basically the trim from cutting up the pork chops. That was the only pack of stew meat I got. But if you like making stew, some of these roasts you could cut into stew meat. And I talked about that earlier as well. Here I have, also from the hams, I have 4 packs of ham steaks. So basically on each leg there was 1 muscle that I saw that was kind of a long, slender muscle, but the grain was like pointing like this way, which is good. So in other words, I cut across the grain so it's more tender, and I was able to get 2 packs of ham steaks per hind quarter. So I've got 4 packs of ham steaks. Then these are the packs of ribs that I very tediously deboned. So you get you can kind of see there's like a short one and then like a long one, because obviously the ribs are different lengths. So you get two of these for each one, and I wrote how many ribs it was. It was five 5 boneless ribs in each pack. So basically 20 ribs total for the pig, which that would be the same no matter what. It's just if it's a bigger pig, they'll be bigger. But so I got 4 packs of boneless ribs, and then right here, all of this is the pork chops. I added it up all total from this pig. Now remember, that's with me cutting it like an inch thick. I got 34 pork chops. That's not counting the one that I used for taste test, and also the little bit of hind quarter that I used for my meal today, because that's the only meal I ate from doing all this work. So this is it. This is all the meat. Now I don't have a weight on any of this, of how much this weighs, but who cares? Look how much meat this is. I mean, each one of these packs is a meal, right? Each one of these packs could be a meal right here. Okay, I just did some quick math on it. So all total, I have 55 packages of meat. So if each one of these is a meal, now of course it depends on your family. On some of these you may need to have 2, but let's say you have a family of like 2 or 3 people, like me. Each one of these packs would be a meal. So that's 55 meals. There's only 52 weeks in a year, which means you would have enough for 1 pork meal per week from a pig you killed, which, by the way, this pig cost me 75 cents because I shot 3 times. The first time got him. The other 2 were ethical, you know, trying to just put the pig down. But so this pig cost me 75 cents, and I have 1 pork meal per week plus 3 extras. I mean, you can't beat that. You really can't beat that. And not only that, but these pigs, you know, they might look cute. You know, not really. They kind of look a little scary, but they may, you know, you may think, oh, look at the pigs, but with their little curly tails and it's wagging and they're eating and everything, but they're an invasive species and they run your deer off. I mean, they'll eat anything they can get their teeth on, including deer fawns, including turkey eggs. They just completely decimate a ecosystem, and, you know, if we can get rid of them and feed our families at the same time for 75 cents, y'all. Okay, sure, plus the cost of the paper and the tape, but you cannot beat this with the store. So my battery's about to die, so see you guys on the next one. Hopefully I'll get some more game and be able to show you nature's bounty. Till next time, see ya. Bye.